Hi, I'm Rachel Thompson-Phillips and welcome to this week's energy forecast for January the 29th through to February the 4th. So this week is a bit of a doozy as we lead towards the blue moon. There's so many things that people are saying about the intensity of this moon. It's the second moon that we've had for this year. It's also going to be a lunar eclipse, and it's also going to be a supermoon. So with all of that combined, that means that there's going to be a massive level of intensity within our emotional states. So this week's energy forecast overall theme is don't get stuck in your past pains. Happiness is always going to lead you to being able to overcome anything. Now, we know that with the full moon, it brings up old past pains, old stories, old situations, events, people's places. Now, that is the gift that your soul is providing to you if you look at it from a different perspective, because what that does is it brings up these old things, because there's obviously a lesson there for you to be able to take from that situation. And if your focus becomes on asking the question of what is my lesson as these old things come to the surface, you take on a whole new different level of perception of being able to observe and be able to take something great from a really unpleasant situation. That is the gift, because you've already lived these situations once. It's really unhealthy to stay in those places, and happiness is something that we choose. So even though that we have these past pains coming up to the surface, we can also choose to find happiness within that. And that can be finding a solution or a healing or a transformation in the way that you perceive that situation. Or it could be that you simply allow yourself to forgive yourself on what your role was in that situation, or with that person, or with that place, or with that past pain. This is our year that we gift ourselves with healing, and sometimes the greatest healing that we can require is to forgive ourselves. And through that, we set ourselves free, and this is where we can find ways to be able to navigate through these high intensities of different emotional states that are triggered by different responses of where the moon is sitting within us. Every person will have a different experience with the moons in itself. Some people are highly sensitized from them. Some people not so much, but overall there is still a thing that the moon will have an effect on our mental and emotional and energetic levels. And this is where we get to take stock and say, hey, you know what? I know these things are coming up, but how can I navigate through this time so that I come out the other side feeling really empowered through the situation, rather than coming out the other side feeling like you're being skull dragged through it and being put through the ringer on an emotional level. And that was the very question when looking at, when I was shuffling the cards, was how can people navigate through this coming week so that they come out the other end feeling really empowered? And the very first card for Monday and Tuesday was pathways. Now this card says, follow the intuitive guidance that leads to the pathway of happiness. So as you can see, happiness is the key, and we all reach that different levels of happiness through so many different channels. So if one channel that you're using is not generating the happiness that you're looking for, remember there are other ways in which you can generate that level of happiness. And remembering, happiness is a choice. Wednesday through till Friday, which is exactly when the full moon hits us. Now, for some people, it will be Wednesday. Some people it will be Thursday. It will just depend on where you're situated within the world. So just go in and type when is the super blue moon occurring in your location, and it will come up and show you exactly the time and the date for you. So through this time period when there's supermoons, it says steps. Now, as I just mentioned to you, it says every step in your life has led you towards this moment. Break through illusions that is preventing your growth. When we sit in those past pains, we're not growing. All we're doing is rehashing the same situation without even realizing that if you've lived it once, you cannot go back and change it, but you can change the way that you feel about the situation, and that in itself frees you, and that is your growth. It becomes, if you sit in past pains for too long, they become your excuses, your justifications, your shitty stories that you're telling yourself that is preventing you from being able to move into the direction that you want to go in. And your soul is not wanting that for you. So from the weekend, it's saying, your soul, it says, The power of the soul is passion, creativity, and intuition. Look into your soul and connect with that higher self. Intuition is given to us on so many different levels. It doesn't just come there with this beautiful floating messages that come to us. It can come through us when we're doing creative outlets like art, journaling, drumming. It's also a really great time to be able to look at, are you actually allowing these creative channels to be explored? Have you shut them down? Because, a lot of us have just got through Christmas. They've had the kids at home. Now it's getting back into the routines. But when was the last time that you actually allowed that creative channel to be let out so that you can move into that space? What happens is when we stay in that creative channel, it opens up and bypasses that conscious logical mind that is telling you what you should be doing and how you should be feeling and how you should be reacting and how you should be responding and all these how. But we want to be able to move into a place where we let ourselves feel into our intuition. How does it feel for you? And when we move into that space of feeling, sometimes, I think, and a lot of times, we feel very differently than how we think about certain pain points that we've experienced in our life. And so therefore we can bypass it and go, you know what, how do I feel about the situation? I really don't want to hold on to this anymore. Rather than your brain trying to analyze, how can I think about this? And what should I do about this? And this is really unfair that this happened to me. And see how you can get really stuck into these spirals. Whereas when we move into creative channels where we're drumming, it could be gardening. For some people, they can hit that intuitive place as they're, spring cleaning. All of these open up that and bypass that logical mind and allow you to just move into how you feel about this situation, and you bypass that mental monkey brain, that mind chatter that happens all the time. And so therefore we can connect in and tap into the energy of our intuition a lot quicker. And that's what your soul is saying to you. Let your intuition guide you. Stay in creative channels that is elevating your levels to be able to connect to this intuition, so that, because remember, your intuition always knows what the next step is for you. So remember, as these things are coming to the surface, your soul is actually saying to you, this is my gift to you, for you to explore. How is it that you want to perceive this, and what gifts do you want to take from this experience that you can use in the future? Because that really is everything. I've always said no one gets through life unscathed. We all have a huge collection of shitty stories of things that have happened to us. But we are growing and developing and evolving so much, and the transformation is occurring so rapidly, where we can just make that decision that we don't want to hold on to it, cut the cord, and boom, gone. It doesn't need to reside within your reality anymore. Take the beautiful gift and see how you can apply that circumstance into your future and into your current now. And because when we find situations that drop our energy levels down, we can start to feel very disempowered. But this is also a time where we can choose to take that focus, or we can move into that place where we can actually feel incredibly powerful. Because remember, you are a being of infinite possibility. So you get to choose how you wish to navigate through this time. You can either sit in a space and be consumed by your emotions, or you can find a way to thank for the gift, take the gift, and move on. And I truly believe that's exactly what the soul is saying. And to find ways to be able to stay in that state of happiness much more frequently, because if we are vibrating at a higher frequency where we're letting joy and happiness into us, then we are choosing the direction of our own destiny. And every single step that we choose right now is a choice that it changes your outcome for any single thing that you do. So remember, even though these full moons do bring up these emotions and intensity, you get to decide on how you want to be able to navigate through this time. And I truly believe that you want to be able to move through this time with as much ease and grace and staying aligned, rather than feeling like you've been put in a washing machine on spin cycle and feeling like a crazy person. And that's what can happen on the low vibing end of these intense moon cycles. And so therefore, this, for some people, they could be experiencing doubts, fears, phobias, misguided perceptions about their reality. And remember, anything that we think of consistently starts to build our own belief system. So if you're finding that you're getting stuck on a particular type of emotional state, i.e., not trusting yourself, doubts or fears, this is a time where you can really come in and connect to all of those tools and resources that you have within you. And there's also an unsurmountable amount of free resources and tools out there to be able to help you through this time. Meditations, cleansing, whatever modality you may have. For some people it might be crystals that they may want to wear with them as a way to set that intention. So there are all of these beautiful internal resources sitting within you that all you have to do is ask yourself, what is it that you need right now? And then go in and pull that beautiful resource out for you to be able to use on a consistent basis. And it's so important to be incredibly mindful of your energies. For some people, they experience, these moons and they're bouncing off the walls, and other people can feel that their energy levels are very, very depleted. So please just be incredibly mindful of where your energy levels are at and how you choose to distribute that, because that will also depict how you experience this coming week. Now, this is a time where your soul is wanting to cleanse itself. So give it permission. Allow yourself to be in a receiving state, to be able to receive the gifts, receive the messages, but also receive the healing that you need at this time. And, whatever we resist persists. So rather than fighting with some of these emotions that come up, allow yourself to sit in them and actually really explore what is it that is really occurring for you right at this time. And you may just discover some gold in there that you can use in your very current reality in an incredibly positive and powerful way. And what do I mean by that? You could discover that, with your energy levels being down low, your mindset not being quite as strong as what you would like it to be, you could feel that there's a real vulnerability or a real lack of trust coming up, or all of these doubts. See them as a gift, because when we receive these gifts, now remember, when I say they're gifts, the gifts aren't always delivered in beautiful packages, but the principle is the same. They're a gift from your soul to say to you, this is the next part of your journey before there is something within this situation that you need to be able to learn so that you can grow, so that it provides you with the tools that is going to help you to be in the direction of where you want to go in. So I wish everyone an incredibly super cool full moon. Now remember, with full moons, we also have the ability to cleanse our crystals, our, any tools that we may use for healing modalities, oracle cards, a great time to go in and, sage your house and cleanse the energy within there. It is also a really fabulous time to be able to write a list of all the things that you want to be able to let go of in your world. And then also on that list, on one column, write all of the things that you would like to let go of. And then on another part of the page, write what would you like to replace things with. The mind, when we choose to let go, is going, okay, well, if I'm going to let this go, what am I going to replace it with? So look at situations so that you can go, okay, I'm choosing to let go of this, and I'm going to install this new habit, this new way of thinking, this new, ritual that I want to do for myself. But find something that's incredibly powerful that you can stick to, so that you can find that you can really cherish these moments, so that you can discover what it is that your soul's trying to reveal to you. And, because it's also the year, we're also in a new moon where we've got intentions. It's the year of being able to manifest and align ourselves and stay in flow. So remember, everything that you're going through right at this point is exactly where you need to be, but you get to choose how you want to experience this moment. And I believe that 9 times out of 10 people are wanting to experience these situations feeling empowered. So have a wickedly cool week. Much love to you all, and take care.